Hello, my dear students. Today we will discuss about the topic endocrine secretions and mechanism of hormone actions. A hormone may be defined as a specific product of an endocrine gland secreted into the bloodstream, which carries it to some part of the body where it produces a definite physiological effect. This effect may be excitatory or inhibitory in its action. Hormones are not only the chemical messengers that pass from the glands via the bloodstream to the target organ or some processes, but they are important regulating substances that control virtually every aspect of the metabolism in living cells. These are also chemical coordinators other than hormones, such as carbon dioxide and metabolites. Next comes chemistry of hormones. Chemically, hormones are amino acid derivatives, polypeptides or proteins, and steroid in nature. Thus, chemically there are three distinct types of hormones as follows. Number 1, steroid hormones. Number 2, amino acid derivatives. Number 3, polypeptide and protein hormones. Number 4, glycoprotein. Number 5, prostaglandins. Number 1, steroid hormones. They contain a steroid nucleus, cyclopentanoephenanthrin, in their molecules. Male sex hormones, androgens, female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, and hormones of the adrenal cortex, adrenocorticoids, belong to this group. Number 2, amino acid derivatives. A few of the hormones are amino acid derivatives. Thyroxine, adrenaline, and noradrenaline fall in this category. Number 3, polypeptide and protein hormones. Hormones of this group are proteinous in nature. This major group includes insulin, glucagon, oxytocin, vasopressin, parathormone, hormones from the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and hormones from the gastrointestinal tract. Number 4, glycoprotein. This category of hormones includes thyrotropin, the follicular stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormones secreted in the adenohypophysis of the pituitary gland. Number 5, prostaglandins. It belongs to the category of fatty acid derivatives. Next, functions of hormones. Hormones are chemical agencies that severally perform functions. Their activities may be classified under the headings metabolic, morphogenetic, mental, and personality. Metabolic. In this, the hormone either stimulates or retards the rate of chemical changes by following the various ingredients in the cell. For example, insulin influence on carbohydrate metabolism. This necessarily implies a stimulation or regradation of the function of the organ concerned. At the cellular or molecular level, hormones may exert their metabolic effect in a variety of ways, none of which is fully understood, and most of which are subject to continuing speculation and investigation. If we accept the premise that hormones accelerate or retard rate-limiting enzyme reactions, then it is possible that a hormone may act directly on the apoenzyme or its precursor. Number 2. Control the availability of substrate by setting its rate of transfer into the cell or its rate of release from a bound intracellular storage form. Number 3. Perform as or regulate the availability of coenzyme or cofactor. And number 4. Determine the rate of the reaction by adjusting the rate of removal or reaction end product, which might bring about inhibition due to their accumulation. Next comes morphogenetic. Hormones influence the growth and development of the body as a whole or as a part. For example, the thyroid, pituitary, and gonads. Next, mental. This aspect is clearly demonstrated in hypothyroidism, which results in mental sluggishness, torpor, and somnolence. The interrelationship of the central nervous system and endocrine glands is obvious. Next comes personality. As hormones influence the manner in which an individual responds to daily situation or stimuli, some hormones may be said to take part in shaping an individual's personality. Regulation of endocrine secretions. The secretion of hormones by the endocrine glands is controlled by a complex of chemical and nervous factors. The secretory activity of most of the endocrine glands seems to be regulated by certain substances carried by the blood. In some cases, these chemicals are hormones themselves. The regulation of endocrine secretion is discussed as follows. Feedback control. The secretory activities of endocrine tissues are modulated by negative feedback. That is, the concentration of the hormone itself or a response to the hormone by the target tissue will have an inhibitory effect on the synthetic or secretory processes responsible for the elaboration of the hormone in question. There may be both short loop and long loop feedback. Number 1. Short loop feedback. In short loop feedback, either a product of the target tissue or an effect produced by it acts directly back on the endocrine tissue that elaborates the hormone. This keeps hormone secretion in check. As the concentration of the hormone rises, it indirectly inhibits any further increase in its own plasma concentration. Number 2. Long loop feedback. It operates on the same principle, but it includes more elements. Regardless of the number of elements in the loop, there must be an odd number of sign inversion to produce the regulatory effect. Negative feedback control. It is illustrated by the secretion of ADIs in response to increased osmolarity of the blood plasma. Upon reaching the kidney, the ADIs increases water reabsorption in the collecting duct from the pre-urine, counteracting the loss of fluid. As a consequence, plasma osmolarity is stabilized, and in turn, so is the secretory activity of the ADIs producing tissue. Positive feedback control. Although the negative feedback is common in physiological processes, positive feedback is rare since it is of no use in maintaining a steady state. Nevertheless, there is an interesting example of positive feedback in the generation of menstrual cycle. Low levels of estrogen stimulate the secretion of follicle-stimulating hormone, which in turn stimulates the secretion of estrogen, a positive feedback relationship that increases the level of both estrogen and follicle-stimulating hormone in the blood. As the hormone levels rise sufficiently, positive feedback is terminated as negative feedback takes over. This happens because high concentrations of the estrogen inhibit follicle-stimulating hormone production, causing a change in feedback sign. Secretion of both follicle-stimulating hormone and estrogen is thereby largely curtailed until another cycle of positive feedback begins to build up the concentration of these hormones. The familiar cycle changes that characterize the menstrual cycle depend in part on the alteration, positive and negative feedback, as well as on the lags inherent in the time required for the rise and fall of the plasma hormone level. Neural control acts to evoke or suppress hormone secretion in response to both external and internal stimuli. Hormone secretion may arise from visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, tactile, or pressure stimuli and may be perceived consciously or unconsciously. Pain, emotion, sexual excitement, fright, injury, stress, and changes in blood volume, it can modulate hormone secretion through neural mechanism. Examples include number 1, the release of oxytocin, which fills the milk ducts in response to the stimulus of suckling. Number 2, the release of aldosterone, which augments the circulatory volume in response to upright posture. And number 3, the release of melatonin in response to darkness. Many hormones are secreted in distinct pulses. Furthermore, certain secretory patterns are dictated by circadian rhythms, diurnal rhythms, or ultradian multiple within a day rhythms. These rhythms may be genetically encoded or acquired. Circadian or daily rhythms can be demonstrated even within certain individual cells in culture. For example, pineal gland cells show regular and coordinated 24-hour variation in synthesis of the hormone melatonin. A coordinated intrinsic 24-hour cycle can be demonstrated for several endocrine, metabolic, and behavioral rhythms, even in a timeless environment lacking day or night. Modification of the intrinsic cycle occur via light signals from the retina and signals from the thalamus, midbrain, hippocampus, and pineal gland. The source of regular oscillatory cycles is a pulse generator in the suprachiasmatic nucleus (SCN) of the hypothalamus. The intrinsic circadian clock is also located in the SCN, which in vitro demonstrate a spontaneous peak of electrical activity at the same time every 24 to 25 hours. All SCN neurons synthesize the neurotransmitter gamma-aminobutyric acid. Some also express neurohormones such as vasopressin, vasoactive intestinal peptide, and somatostatin. The 24 to 25 hour cycle can be entrained by the normal environmental light-dark cycle created by the Earth's rotation, so that the periodicity of the clock appears to be environmentally controlled. Neural input is generated from specialized light-sensitive retinal cells that are distinct from rods and cones. These signals via the retinohypothalamic tract with norepinephrine as the neurotransmitter create the entrainment. Under constant conditions of light or dark, however, the SCN clock becomes free-running. Entrainment, that is, shifting the phase of SCN activity so that it correlates with a regular external cycle of similar frequency, is mediated by cyclic AMP and pituitary adenylate cyclase activating peptide PACAP during subjective daytime, and by acetylcholine and cyclic guanosine monophosphate CGMP during subjective nighttime. Next comes mechanism of hormone action. The secretion of hormone from an endocrine gland is controlled by its circulating level of the blood. The actions of hormones are carried via the blood throughout the entire body, yet they affect only certain cells. The specific cells that respond to a given hormone have receptor sites for that hormone. This is a sort of lock and key mechanism. If a hormone fits the receptor sites for a given hormone, make up the target tissue for that hormone. In some cases, the target tissue is localized in a single gland or organ. In other cases, the target tissue is diffuse and scattered throughout the body so that many areas are affected. Hormones bring about their characteristic effects on target cells by modifying cellular activities. Hormones can be classified by the location of the receptor and by the nature of the signal or second messenger used to mediate hormone action within the cell. Next comes mechanism of action of peptide hormones. The molecules of hormones that are amino acid derivatives, peptides or proteins are large and insoluble in lipids and cannot enter the target cell. Therefore, they act at the cell surface. They bind to specific receptor molecules located on the surface of the cell membrane. The hormone receptor complex activates G protein associated with the cytoplasmic C-terminal, which initiates the release of an enzyme adenyl cyclase from the receptor site. Adenyl cyclase enzyme forms in the cell cyclic adenosine monophosphate CAMP from ATP. The CAMP activates the existing enzyme system of the cell. This accelerates the metabolic reaction in the cell. The hormone is called the first messenger and the CAMP is termed the second messenger. The role of CAMP, a second messenger in hormonal action, was first described by Earl Sutherland. Insulin provides a good example to explain the mode of action of peptide hormone. Insulin is a polypeptide hormone not soluble in lipids. It operates through membrane-bound receptor, a heterotetrameric protein on the target cell. It consists of 4 subunits, 2 alpha subunits and 2 beta subunits. The 2 alpha subunits project out of the surface of the cell membrane and possess insulin binding sites. The 2 beta subunits project into the cytoplasm of the target cells. Insulin molecules, the first messenger, bind at the binding sites of outer 2 alpha subunits of the receptor protein to form hormone receptor complex. This binding results in conformational changes in the beta subunits of the receptor protein. Activated beta subunits become an activated kinase which then promotes the addition of phosphate groups or phosphorylation of the tyrosine residues projecting in the cytoplasm of the target cells. Activated beta subunits of tyrosine kinase then activate G protein. The latter activates an enzyme phosphodiesterase. This activated enzyme results in the degradation of PIP2 phosphatidylinositol 4,5-biphosphate into 2 mediators, namely inositol triphosphate IP3 and diacylglycerol DG. These act as intracellular secondary messengers responsible for the amplification of signals. IP3 and DG now amplify a hormonal signal by initiating various events involving cascade effect in the target cell. In cascade effect, every activated molecule in turn activates many molecules of inactive enzyme of next category, and this process is repeated a number of times. Next comes mechanism of action of steroid hormones. Steroid hormones, being hydrophobic molecules, diffuse freely into all cells and act within the cell. The steroid hormones secreted by adrenal cortex, ovaries and testes do not utilize cyclic AMP to exert their influence. The steroid hormones enter the cytoplasm of a target cell and binds with specific receptor proteins. The hormone receptor complex then diffuses into the nucleus and activates specific genes to form new protein. This protein carries out the specific response for a particular steroid hormone. The steroid hormones are related to cholesterol. From the above discussion, it is concluded that a hormone is a substance that serves as a chemical message between the cell that produces it and the cell that receives it. The hormones are of amino acid derivatives, polypeptides or proteins, and steroids in nature. The secretion of hormones by the endocrine glands is controlled by a complex of chemical and nervous factors. The secretory activity of most of the endocrine glands seem to be regulated by certain substances carried by the blood.